Hey, what up? This is Matt Barnes, one half of the All the Smoke duo, and you're watching Byron Scott's Fast Break.
And we're back. Another episode of Byron Scott's Fast Break. My name is Kid J. Mr. Notes and Strokes over here. Coach Byron Scott.
Look, that's what I do.
And we're welcoming in the building Mr. Matt Barnes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
champ.
Yeah.
thank you,
First
thank
off, can you give me the cheat code to the light-skinned brothers? You're looking so damn good.
Can't take no shit. Man, I've been fighting for acceptance since like third grade, man. So I'm finally to a space in my mid-40s now where, luckily people don't mess with me no more.
Yeah, you look great, brother. You look
do,
great.
you do.
Let's get into the career, okay? Went to UCLA. I got to go to my clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
Drafted by the Grizzlies in 2002. Had to take the hard route with playing in the D League at first, but you turned that into playing 10 NBA teams over 15 years. The Clippers were the longest you spent on one team, which was 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
My first question is, why the hell could you get a long-term contract in this league?
I think where I ended up hurting myself was I was always wanted to win. I figured when everybody wins, you eat, and that's where a deal will come from. So I was always someone who would take less money to go to better teams. So I would get offered by some of these teams that weren't very good at the time, multiple 3 years, 17, 3 years, 12. But I would end up going to the Lakers for, 2 years in the minimum because, all right, there's a chance to win there, or go to Orlando for the same thing when Dwight was in his prime. So I would go in situations where I could try to win and, came close a few times with those teams. But I think I got labeled as, okay, he's a solid player and we can get him for low. Because every team I went to, whether, I ended up starting or being the first or second guy off the bench, I always played. Like it was never a time in my career, except at the very beginning when I was bouncing around, where I didn't play.
Now, see, this is crazy because you do that later in your years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of your years, when you try to establish yourself, take the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take that money, and then when you establish that, then you start playing, for that championship tip.
No, I realized I made that mistake too. So my first 4 years, I went with the Clippers on a 10-day out the G League and ended up making it a whole season. And then they wanted to sign me for a 2-year minimum deal. But this is the time in the early 2000s where I'm from SAC, and SAC is playing the Lakers. So I'm always up north in the summertime training with Webb and Jason Williams, and then it ended up being Mike Bibby. And was a huge fan of the Kings, obviously. And Rick Adelman came down to me. He's like, hey, what are you going to do this next season? I was like, we're talking to the Clippers. He's like, well, we might have room for you here. I'm like, what? My hometown team? I'm here. You know what I mean? So I end up taking the situation. I ended up taking a 1-year deal with the Kings when I turned down a 2-year deal with the team that initially got me in the NBA. And then I get traded with Chris Webber to Philly. So I'm a throw-in the Webb trade to Philly. And for nearly 2.5 seasons, I don't touch the court. So I'm to the point now, like, shit, am I even going to be in the NBA? So I was a big-time football player too. So in the summertime, that summer, I started training for football and basketball. My agent had about eight NFL teams that were going to give me an open tryout. And I was just like, hell, shit, if this don't work, I'm going to make this jump because football is my first sport.
Do you think you would have done well in football?
I think I could have. I mean, I was, 6'8". I ran a 4.39, had a 38-inch vert, but football is I didn't start playing basketball seriously until like junior high going into high school. But football, I used to play tackle football on the street growing up. So I kind of say that, I was a football player, lucky enough to be able to play in the NBA. The way I played, being physical, the way I run the lanes like a receiver and catch the outlets from whoever's throwing me the ball. So I was just a football player that, was skilled enough to, last in the NBA.
Was wide receiver your
Wide
position?
receiver, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Led the nation in touchdowns, number 1 receiver in the country my senior year. So I was recruited to play both sports, but at the time I just didn't see any longevity of being 6'8". And this is back when there weren't these, these two-hand touch rules are in the NFL, and they could take your head off back in the early 2000s. So I'm thinking
two-hand touch rules in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm 6'8", 215. They're gonna tear my ass up out there. So I'm just like, let me start grinding on basketball and see if I can make this work.
Guys, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go to PrizePick.com and use code BScott. It's unbelievable. But look, go to PrizePick.com and use the code BScott, and you will receive a guaranteed $50 once you place a $5 lineup. It is that simple. Now, listen, I've been winning every week because that's what I do. I'm a winner. When I do it, I just win. And, I'm up to about 750 right now, and I'm thinking about quitting the show, but I'm not because I love what we do. But, Kid J, how you been doing?
I've been doing great, so much so that my very own daughter, she watched the podcast.
Okay.
And she said, Dad, it's that simple? And I said, yeah. She's like, well, can I borrow $10? So I loaned her $10 and she played, got her a bonus because she used the keyword B. Scott, and she actually went to the Laker game the other night and she played NBA more or less and won money. It's that simple.
It's that
My
simple.
own daughter.
Your own daughter.
She's only 19.
She's only 19. And
Is that legal?
She winning money. Is it? It should be. I hope it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
But I'm telling you guys, it's that simple. So again, go to PrizePick.com and use code BScott to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play a $5 in lineups. It is that simple. Kid J, keep on winning, and your boy B. Scott will too. We cool. Man, I'm going to go to your last year, and then we'll bounce around. But you get traded to the Golden State Warriors. Win a chip. Decide to retire after that year. Was that the best team you ever played for?
Oof, that was a scary team, man. I got to play on a handful of teams. Before I get back to your question, that Lob City team I felt like was one of the most talented teams in the NBA for our little 3-year run with Blake and Chris and Jamal and Lamar and Eric Bledsoe and DeAndre Jordan and JJ Redick. The Laker teams were good with Kobe and Bynum and Gasol. I think what messed up that Laker team was that was the year that the CP3 trade got botched. So Powell was supposed to go, Lamar was supposed to go, it got voided, and then how do you bring someone back that you wanted to trade?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the 1 year I played in Orlando, we had a really good team with me, Vince Carter, Dwight Howard in his prime, Jameer Nelson, Rashard Lewis, Miguel Pietrus. We had a really good team. But I say all that to say that Golden State Warrior team was
scary, man.
Incredible, bro. It was, this is prime KD, prime Steph, prime Clay, Iggy, David West, obviously Draymond and everything he did. And, what was so special about that team was I kind of got there before the turmoil hit. Like the following year is when kind of shit started kind of hitting the fan and there was a little bit of disconnect. But when I was there, I tell you, there's certain teams where you just feel that energy. Like even on off days, everyone came in and got a lift, got treatment. Guys hung out on and off the court. I was just blown away because again, this is, my 15th year in the league and I'm kind of sitting around like, damn, this is what the good teams in the NBA are really doing. Like the owners took care of absolutely everything during the playoffs. They chartered a private jet and your family jumps on. They take care of the hotel. They take care of food. Like all you really had to do with that team was focus on basketball. And that was a long way from where I got my start with Golden State in 06 and 07 when those teams were trading all their talent away, couldn't keep nobody. Ownership was trash. So I got to go there literally 10 years after that We Believe run and just the night and day. And it really kind of clicked then that like winning starts at the top. Yeah. There's you can have a great team, great coach, but if your ownership ain't shit, your team ain't gonna be shit.
Yeah. That connection, maybe that's more of the question. Was that the most connected team you've ever? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. It was beautiful. You know what the coolest part was though after practice was, as you're a vet, everyone wants to get their shot up, but I had to wait to get on the court because they had their pecking order, like Steph and KD. So you see Steph at 6'3" and KD at damn near 7 foot doing the exact same footwork, spin, left-handed, balance shit, not missing no shots. On the other side of the court, you'd see Clay shoot 93 out of 100 threes. You got Iggy working somewhere, David West working somewhere, Draymond working somewhere, all the young guys working somewhere. So at the end of practice, I kid you not, like I really used to sit back and enjoy and watch that first court where Steph and KD were, and then Clay on the other end were, and just their repetition, their reps every single day without fail. They're out there working on their craft and all these shots. They're lucky, the 1-footer, the left hand, like. They work on all that shit, man. So that was just being able to see what it was like to be with, because I've got to play with a bunch of Hall of Fame guys and see Kobe's work ethic and what kind of monster he was, but just the kind of harmony and chemistry that team had that particular year that I was there was special.
I think a lot of people slept on your 3-point game because actually in Golden State, you tied the franchise records hitting 7 3-pointers before the Splash Brothers.
Yeah, that was early. That was that was so funny thing about that. So that's coming out of nearly 2.5 years in Philly where I didn't get a chance to play. First it was Dave O'Brien, that Rick Pitino wannabe, and then Mo Cheeks. And I was a big fan of Mo Cheeks as a player. And I'm a student of the game and what he was able to do with those teams with Moses and a young Chuck and everything. But Mo at that time, I think he was caught on still kind of acting like a player, but having the suit as a coach. You know what I mean? And he was still in that mix. So he used to fuck with me for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I didn't get a chance to really play, but he used to really like pick on me. And I used to just kind of take it because it was early on. And then it got to a point one time where I'm just like, fuck this. Like, and I took off after him, and luckily Webb grabbed me. Or I might have never did shit.
That's when
you were going to do a Latrell
Spree. And I was about to whoop Mo. Mo, if you see this, Mo, I was about to whoop your ass that day. You know it, bro. Like, for real.
He was about to get a beat down.
Oh, man. Because he just kept, like, there was times in practice where, like, since I was, like, I did everything right. Like, I hired a shooting coach. I was getting extra work, and he would come in the gym. No one's in there but me and a guy named Buzz working on my shot. I don't know why you got a shooting coach. You're not shooting here. Ha, ha, ha. Like you're a head coach. I'm not bothering nobody. There's nobody in here, just me and my shooting coach. And you think it's okay to come in here and say that. And then the thing that set me off was obviously practice time was my games. So this is with the young Iguodala, Kyle Korver, AI, Webb, Dallenberg. That 03? 03? 03, 04, around that time. So I'm taking practice like serious. This is my chance to hopefully impress, maybe get a chance. But if not, I'm just going to get a good sweat. And we were coming down on a 3-on-1 and someone passed me the ball and I pulled up and shot a flank shot and made it. Blew the whistle. You don't shoot the ball here. You pass. I'm just like, it's 3-on-1. Like, What do you mean? Don't? And he said some other disrespectful shit. And I just kind of like, I got that buzz in my ear, like, and I just went after him. And luckily, like, Webb grabbed me. Or I may have never had a chance, but I say all that to say, like, that following year is when I got a chance to go to Golden State. And I told Nelly kind of just cliff notes of how he used to fuck with me. And just like, I was like, Nelly, let me go tonight. He's like, as long as you stay out of foul trouble, you can do what you want.
Wow.
Nice. And I ended up hitting, like, I want to say I had 26 points, 27 points, hit 7 threes. And it was a real good game. Felt good. Because he was talking shit at the beginning of the game too. I hit one. Oh, that shit's lucky. Like, all right. And I just started hitting. I want to say I went like 7 for 8 or 7 for 9. And I started talking shit back. And I had the whole bench laughing, the trainers laughing. I was talking reckless to him that
night. So that was a good moment, right? That was a real good moment.
That season alone, obviously that led to the We Believe season. But funny how I got there. Again, I'm on my grind. So Baron Davis, UCLA teammate. I'm in SAC at the time in the summer. And Baron hit me up like, hey, we got pickup today. This is like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm in SAC. We got pickup today like at 11. Damn, he's like an hour and a half away from me, but fuck it, I'm on. So I got up, got dressed, drove down to the Bay, played really good in this pickup game. And I didn't know that Nelly was up in the coach's office watching. So Nelly comes down and talks to me, similar to what Rick Adams said, hey, what are you doing, this season? I'm like, Coach, I don't know, Coach. I'm just trying to make a team, trying to get an invite. And he's like, I can't promise you anything. We have a full roster. All of our spots are guaranteed. We got he said, we already have our whole training camp. But if you come in and play like you played today, I'm going to give you a chance. And that's all I needed. So I came in and beat the guys in and then beat 2 partial guarantee guys out. End up being the 12th man on the bench all the way to that season, working myself into a starting position and playing well enough to trade Dunleavy and Troy Murphy to get Steven Jackson and Al Harrington to come to Golden State.
When I talk about the NBA, I always go back to our days where they were dogs. Yeah. We had pit bulls on, in the league, guys that would win after your ass every single night, right?
Yep.
I look at you as one of the dying breeds of the last dogs in the league. And there's probably a number of guys that you would consider that to be as well. And that was probably 2006, 2007. How do you look at the league now?
It's just a lot different. You can be one of these older players and complain about everything or just understand this is the way the game is now. I don't always agree with everything. I think, I hung my hat on defense and I grew up watching you guys. And we talked about it when I had you on the show, the way that, Kurt Rambis got clotheslined and no one got kicked out the game.
Yeah, just when he touched free throws. Now the bench is clear. They broke up all the fights and then you go free throws.
I grew up, again, a football player at heart, watching the Lakers and the Celtics and those Detroit teams. So I grew up on a physical type game. So to see where the game is now, obviously, I think this is David Stern's idea of growth because the game is more globally recognized than it's ever been because there's so much offense. People don't necessarily, unfortunately, the common person doesn't want to see a 82, 83 type game. They want to see Steph shooting from half and people dunking and all alley-oops. But I just think it hurts the product. You see the ratings are down. Adam Silver came out and said engagement via social media is higher than it's ever been, but the actual viewership is down. Just because it's nasty sometimes. Yeah. Those games are out there nasty. No one's really competing. No one's really playing defense. And I think, whether that's the league or the referees, but it's just like, or these kids coming in understand that this is just the game it is. So I would just say, I love the game still. I think these kids are more skilled than they've ever been. But I think, and I have kids trying to get there now. all these kids work out with the ball, with their head down. No one knows how to play team basket. You don't know how to play off the ball. You don't know how to pick, roll, pop, flare, screen, back cut. Like that's, and as a coach, that's what I teach my kids and the kids I coach. But at the same time, it's just like, if these guys don't have the ball in their hand, they're standing over there. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
If you had to put on your commissioner hat, what would you change in the game today to bring it back?
Allow people to play defense. I would even for a while put handshaking back in the game just to kind of balance it back out. And if you need to move away from that eventually. But I mean, these guys are so skilled now that you can't, even if you were trying to play D, it's going to be tough. But I would just, I would lax on the defensive call. I would let these guys really try to play defense.
When you go back, and I know you've seen this video, Matt, probably 1,000 times, the Kobe flinch or the Kobe non-flinch, right? Because you guys got into it before that play, before you took it out.
Yeah, he was giving it to you, elbows and all kinds of
going
stuff.
at it.
Man. So, my thing with Kobe starts back, when you were still playing, I think, like I was at UCLA in 98. Kobe was, young on those older veteran Laker teams where we used to see Kobe on our campus all the time. And the first time I saw him, I was like, is he playing for the Lakers and going to school at UCLA? Like, that's how much we would see him up there. And then I would sneak back into Poly and watch him work out. I remember the one time that he had, I don't know, I think he broke his right hand.
Broke his wrist,
His wrist.
When I tell you, I seen him doing workouts in Poly, full left-handed workouts like he was a left-handed player.
Wow.
In and out, jumpers, all this shit, and just kind of have his guide hand as the cast, but shooting. And I'm just like, and that was the next year where he came back shooting all those left-handed shots when he didn't really need to, but he could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my thing was just kind of admiration. Like, he was kind of the bar for me. Like, I missed MJ by a year, so just seeing Kobe and seeing his grind. And, if you're in LA, you kind of feel like you got to watch him grow up and mature from a kid to a man. So there was always a lot of admiration there. And then when I finally got there, I'm just like, shit, I've been watching you train for a long time. Like, all right, I can't wait to. So there was always a lot of mutual respect there, because I just, good offense is always going to be good defense. I just always wanted to make him work. And if Kobe was going to get 35 on me, I wanted to take 28 or 30 shots. So he just, every time I just wanted to make him work. And it was just one of those things. The Lakers had played Orlando in the finals the year before. This is late March heading into the playoffs. Is this going to be the matchup again in the finals? So it was just a super competitive ABC nationally televised game. But Kobe's a motherfucker, and as talented as he and skilled he's a mental monster too. So he does all the little shit, the elbows, the grabs, the dirty shit that he'll just smile and shrug, and the refs act like they don't fucking see it when they're standing right there. So it just got really touchy. And I remember I caught a dunk tip. He was guarding me, and he tried to go to the weak side and block Dwight's shot, and it came off the rim perfectly, and I got a dunk tip. And as I was coming off the rim, he threw his elbow up and like hit me here, and here. And the refs is where you're at. And he like, I didn't see shit. I'm all right, motherfucker. So it was funny because in our last interview, I was like, I was ready to fight you. And he laughs like, oh, I know. You know what I mean? So that's kind of just where you're at, So the ball fake wasn't premeditated. It just kind of happened. I don't know how it happened. But it, it ended up making a lure. But the cooler part about the story was, the end of that season, like I said, Orlando, that Orlando team was one of the most talented teams I played for. We end up going, I think, 6 games with Boston. They beat us in the Eastern Finals. The Lakers beat Boston that year as a redemption. So a situation is going on in Orlando where JJ Redick's about to re-up, and I'm going to re-up. But JJ got his re-up first, and then there's rumors that, first of all, I didn't even know JJ got re-up, but the word was that I wouldn't be happy with taking less money than JJ. I was like, motherfucker, I'm just happy to get some money. I don't care what, no, I'm not counting no other man's pockets. I don't care. So that deal kind of fades away. So I'm still in Orlando, and I get a call from Pat Riley. And Pat Riley's like, hey, we want to bring you here, and this is on the verge. Shh, be quiet. This is what's about to happen. So it's like, there's a chance we get Bron and Chris Bosh. I'm like, oh shit. So he's telling me like the closing lineup. Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Mike Miller, and you. I'm like, oh, that's all 6'8", all could switch. We can all do everything. Like, I'm in. So I'm in the verge. D Wade ends up calling me one time and we talk and telling me about South Beach, how much I love it. And I get a random phone call from a number that's not saved in my phone. I don't ever answer my phone, even if I know who is calling. And I happen to answer it, and it's true. And it's Kobe. And I was like, who's this? Like, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Who's this? He's like, nah, bro, it's really me. And I heard him start talking. I was like, oh, it is you. Like, what's up, man? And congratulations on the championship. Ooh, what's going on? And we kind of like reminisce about the game. And, he's just like, anyone crazy enough to fuck with me is crazy enough to play with me. Do you want to be a Laker? And I'm just like, hell yeah. I mean, I grew up in California. I grew up watching you guys. The Showtime Laker was life for me. So I'm just like, arguably one of the greatest Lakers wants me to team up. So I said, yeah. And I want to say 4 days later, I'm in LA signing my contract.
Wow. See, that's what Kobe does.
Yeah.
He recruits players.
Well, he got Ron the year before. Remember, Ron tried to choke him in the playoffs. Yeah, and Ron hit the big shot to win. And then the following year, me and him get into it. But it was, what was so dope about that team was you think about me, Ron Artest, and Kobe on the wings as far as defense. We'd always try to give Kobe, because Kobe always wanted the smoke. But nah, bro, you need to score. Like let me and Ron handle the shit. But let a motherfucker maybe get 2 buckets on me or Ron. Fuck that. I'm switch. Yeah. Like, nah, bro, we got to relax, man. You can get him later in the game. So
who was the best defensive player on those teams? 11, 12. You had all 3 of y'all.
Man, y'all was nice.
All 3 of you guys.
Pickett. I'm never going to talk about myself. I just, I know I did my job when I was out there, but, Ron was a motherfucker. Ron had these hands that even when you got by him, somehow he still was able to strip the ball from you. And then, Kobe would just compete. He was all defense however many times in his career. So
50 feet away.
I just knew we made it tough for people. But that was the year I actually ended up tearing my knee and tried to come back at the end of the season. It wasn't really myself. And then that's when we got swept. Dallas blew our fucking heads off in the second round, and that's when they beat Miami in the finals.
Yeah.
How much over the years, Matt, would you say? Because again, we talk about how tough you were, how feisty you always had that dog in you. Mm-hmm. How much would you say, fine wise, it cost you? It cost you in your league days. How much money did you spend on all the fines that you got?
Have you figured it out?
No, someone calculated not too long ago. I want to say at some point last year, and obviously the money is different now, so you may look at it like, but it was like close to $600,000. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't never. To be honest with you, after my first 2 or 3 years, it was never people fucking with me. It was always me coming to defense of my teammates.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's family. So you fuck with Kobe, you fuck with CP, you fuck with our best player. Like. I can't let them get hurt. So let me come in and, if we riding, we all riding type situation.
I remember reading some point that you got suspended by the league for something that happened off the court, some altercation or something. And I said to myself, How the hell are they suspending him? Has anyone else ever
and
fining him?
I don't think nobody's ever been suspended.
For something that happened off the court.
Crazy. That was a Derek Fisher situation. Where we had our little tussle in the preseason. He was a coach of the Knicks. I was with Memphis, and then it kind of died down, and then somehow in January it hit the media, and next thing I know, I'm suspended. I'm like, how am I suspended for something that I didn't get arrested for? Yeah. It was in my house, technically. Right. Technically, it was in my fucking house. Like, how did I get suspended for that?
Who was the commissioner? It wasn't Adam, was it?
Was it Adam?
Yeah, it was Adam. Because you got to think, Adam came in right with that Lob City team and kicked Sterling out.
Oh, that's right.
And this is after that.
You're right.
So this literally maybe a year after that.
Interesting. So you've known a lot of guys in the league that talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Right? Who was the biggest shit talker?
Probably the dude that runs this building most of the time, Kevin Garnett. Man,
KG?
Kev was crazy. And Kev is something that'll blow in your face too. Like just weird shit. So Kev talked a lot. Who else? Shit talker. Yeah, I would probably say, because I played older GP, so I didn't really get the full wrath of
and
GP.
You didn't get a chance to go against
missed M.
Larry Bird. You didn't get a chance to go against LB.
Nah. So yeah, I would probably say, and two, you got to think, as I started getting into the league, they were starting to tighten up on stuff.
Change the rules.
So talking would get you a T instead of letting it just be. So I would probably say, Kevin Garnett was probably the biggest shit talker.
Now you finally won Defensive Player of the Year
on my team.
In 2013, right?
On my team, yeah.
Yeah. So, how did that award feel to you? Because you worked so damn hard, you sacrificed, you went through bullshit to even play on teams. You played for least amount of money for all these teams. How'd that award make you feel?
Just to be recognized, man, I feel like because of my reputation, and I feel like reputations earned whether good or bad, so I know I earned my reputation, but I think because of my reputation, I was looked over a lot of the times. Yeah. Again, as I told you guys earlier, no matter what team I went on, I played a lot. Whether I started or came off the bench, I was always guarding the best player every single night. So that's Melo, Ginobili, D-Wade, Bron, KD, Kobe, you name it. I'm guarding that motherfucker every night. But I just felt like it was never appreciated or respected. So when I got a team award, although it was just a team award, it's just like, this is cool, man, because I got that definitely, I put the work in for it.
Right. Let me ask this question. You've been around this league a long time. You're a basketball historian. You know this league, right? from the 60s until now. You've studied this league for so many times, right? Who are the top 5 players in your mind in NBA history?
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we do a top 5 here.
5 NBA history.
Firm believer, with all due respect to the guys that came before, and it's hard because again, I didn't get a chance to watch the Jerry Wests, and I didn't get a chance to really watch the Wilt and his dominance and Bill Russell with all they did, but obviously respect what they've accomplished and seeing the accolades. But I just think all around players in the game, I put MJ, Kobe, and Bron top 3.
Okay,
and you could throw them up in the air and however they land, that's your opinion. But I think those are the 3 best basketball players we've ever seen all around. And then to round that out, I would throw Magic and Shaq in there.
Wow. That's
so
tight.
4 Lakers.
That's tight.
4 Lakers.
4 Lakers.
Yeah.
The only, when you say Kobe, Bron, and MJ, you can throw them up and you can put them in any order you want.
My particular order?
Yeah.
My particular order? I just seen Bron last night too. Our boys played against each other. My particular order is MJ, Kobe, Bron. And it's no knock. I think LeBron gets penalized sometimes for being more of a Magic Johnson selfless player. And I think he gets knocked for not having that killer in him. Because I'm more on the I'm on the violent side. Like Kobe and Mike were violent. They were killers.
Wanted to destroy you.
They were killers.
They wanted to destroy
you. Know what I mean? And Bron, but the fucked up part, similar to Magic, Bron can kill you by smiling.
Yeah.
And that's Kobe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously his longevity and all the accolades he's accomplished and his ability to win with different teams. But I just think there was something different about MJ and Kobe. But that's why I say, like, if you have Bron number 1, I have no issue with that.
Right.
You know, so I just don't like, I feel like for some reason Kobe gets looked over. And I think guys that played against him or with him always have that respect for him. But I think in the general media, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. Because if you remember you were around, like, Kobe wasn't necessarily liked.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a fuck though.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
He didn't care whatsoever.
He didn't care at all.
All he cared about, as you know, was winning championships. That's
I remember the one
about.
time on the bus, because Kobe, if you got a chance to shit talker, crack jokes, and me and him used to go at it, talking. People used to go crazy when I came on the team, started talking shit to him and cracking jokes. I'm like, he's just like the rest of us motherfuckers.
Right,
and he liked it
too.
Yeah. But I remember one time on a bus, we were in Phoenix, and I'm just like, damn, Kobe, how come you can't show everyone this side of you? He's like, nah, I can't show these motherfuckers that. You know what I mean? Like, he always had this wall or the persona up of the Mamba or the killer. But getting a chance to know him on a personal level was dope. But yeah, like I said, it's just, you know, MJ and Kobe were different to me. But if you have Bron number 1, I have no issue with that at all. I think he's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Who was the hardest player to guard during your time in the NBA?
Kobe.
It was Kobe.
And, you know, I had the honor every single night of guarding the best players in the world. And you know, there's guys like Kevin that were nearly 7 feet tall, and Carmelo, who was a 3-level scorer, who was a fucking bulldog, and D Wade, who was agile, and Bron, who had it all. But Kobe was so skilled.
Yeah.
Any mistake you made, wrong foot up, wrong hand up, any angle, if you stayed with him, he was so disciplined enough to sit down, play off 2 feet, and shot fake you 11 times if needed to draw that foul. So I just think, again, he mixed the skill. I think he you know, from all, he emulated Mike, and I think he was able to emulate Mike, but add a little bit more skill to it, because obviously the game had developed and training had developed. So I just think he was able to emulate Mike and take that skill level to the next level, and he was just a machine. You know, being able to play against him for a long time and then work out with them. I remember one time I went out to Orange County, come work out with me. I was like, cool, what time I got to be there? It's like 4:30. I'm like, nigga, what?
Not in the afternoon either.
I was like, nah, it's morning. He's like, well, you desire shit, I guess I'll get on the road at night. He's like, nah, you probably need to come get a hotel tonight. I was like, okay. So I'm out there, man, 4:30, we're on the track, running before the sun comes up, sprint. I used to love to run, so I love that part. And then the weight room. This dude, we lifted weights so hard that I didn't even feel like I could wipe my ass if I needed to anymore. And then right from there, we go to shooting. And it was nasty for like the first 15, 20 minutes until my arms woke back up. But this was something, and then we're done by 8:39, and we had put 4 hours in already of just balls to the wall every single second. Go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He was different. He was different.
Different. I want to ask you something real quick and keep your train of thought. Byron, obviously Scottie Pippen is out here talking a lot. And he was, one of my favorite players growing up, but just to hear the shit he's saying right now, like what are your, I mean, obviously we know how great he was. You got to play against one of the greatest, if not the greatest wing defender of all time, very versatile. What do you think when you hear him say stuff like he could have won 6 chips without Mike, or Mike wasn't this and he was that? Like, what are your thoughts when you see that?
Matt, and like you said, I got nothing but mad respect for Scottie. You know, played against Scottie, true professional, all-around player, one of the best ever to play.
No question.
I mean, offense, defense, can do it all. But when you say you could have won 6 chips without MJ, you smoking some shit,
crazy.
man.
Is he smoking your shit?
Yeah, I was about to say, what I just gave you, my Clay 9 production.
Is he smoking this?
Man, I think Scottie been smoking it behind closed doors, man, because to his defense, but also to his detriment, he had a year to play without MJ.
And he was in the MVP running too.
Yeah, he was in it, but they didn't win a chip.
No, they didn't.
So that kind of places all that shit you just said about you could have won 6 without him. When you had a chance without him, you didn't win. When he came back, you won 3 more.
But I also remember him putting his shoe up with Mike on the bottom, telling him to come back too.
That's
you
right.
know? So like to me, what I don't, and not that because I don't have no dog in the fight, but what I don't like is because we live in such a clickbait era, and the media runs all these bullshit narratives. Like people are going to start remembering him for the dumb shit he's saying instead of how great he was.
How great he was as a player.
How great he was. Like he was one of my favorite players.
Without
a doubt. Great.
So I was just about to add in, is it because his wife is getting more media love nowadays than he is, so he has to go out here?
Or is it because MJ's son is best? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't understand it because you know our team back in the day. Our team is still extremely close.
To this day.
We love each other. We support each other. If Magic have something, B, I need you there.
Yeah.
We there. You know, Coop, James, any of us. You know, we're there for each other, right? So for me to see this when it started coming out, it broke my heart because they were such a dynasty.
Incredible.
And I wouldn't say you're ruining it, but you're putting some bad feelings out there.
And too, I mean, we probably know Mike was probably a fucking monster and hard on his team, whatever you say, what you want to say to win. But every time you hear Mike talk, he's always crediting Scottie too. Always.
For being his...
I couldn't have did it without him.
Be called his Robin, but he was Batman and Robin.
I couldn't have did it without him.
Two of the... When you talk about, we talk about Kareem and Magic.
2 of the greatest.
When you talk about duels, we even talk about, Stockton and Malone. Even though they didn't win a chip, they still were 2 of the best players that ever played, in our era in NBA history. Scottie and Michael are in that conversation.
No question.
So for him to kind of do what he's doing, and like you said, MJ's never...
No,
you never heard him say anything bad about.
He might have said some
shit. I mean, but like I said,
but always publicly, he's always
giving him love. Yeah,
and that's what, again, Scottie was one of my favorite players growing up, and I'm just like, people are going to start remembering you for the stuff you're saying instead of how great you were. Anyway, my bad.
Yeah, I remember him getting crossed over by Kobe and Shaq dunking the ball, and that's when that was
a little bit older, Scottie. I was actually in my dorm room at UCLA going crazy watching that shit.
All right, Matt, you just gave us your top 5, right? And you have Kobe in there.
Yeah.
But did you see this? Chandler Parson, like recently, he came out and said something like, Kobe's in nobody's top 5? What's the deal with that?
Chandler, I love you, but you're full of shit. I don't know. I think, unfortunately, and I like Chandler, and I like what they're doing over there with him and Lou Will and Michelle. But I think there are some shows out here with former players that are just saying shit for clickbait. And I think it's unfortunate because we live in a time where you've seen some of the best in the game, Stephen A. Smith and these other guys do it, But I always hold former players, with all due respect, former players to a higher standard because we know what it's like and what the grind is and how fucking hard. Less than 5,000 people on the face of the earth that played in the NBA. Like, how hard this is. So when you hear people, disrespect great players, it gets frustrating. But at the end of the day, like, I think it's because it's been, he said it maybe 10 days ago and people are still talking about it. I think sometimes guys get caught in this, let me say some wild shit or some clickbait shit to go viral. And I never liked it when anyone did it, but particularly when players do it, because it's just like, y'all know how hard it is to do what we're doing. Like, why do that? But to say that Kobe's in no one's top 5 is
crazy.
The old me might have just smacked him off GP, but I fuck with Chandler. I like Chandler a lot, but I obviously didn't agree with what he said at all.
We're doing the Byron Scott Fast Break podcast, but we also know that Matt and Steven Jackson have a podcast called All the Smoke. One of the most successful podcasts that you will ever see.
Yes, it is.
Over 1 million subscribers. I mean, you guys have done over 200 episodes.
Congratulations, man.
Man, it's been off the chain, and I was blessed for Matt to call me and do an episode with him as well. What has that meant? Doing all that, all the smoke and doing how it's knowing how well it's done.
The transition for me, again, I was the first I was a role player, journeyman. And I think where I was able to luck up was I was able to transition out of the league and keep my face fresh in media, even though I didn't even want to do media. It just kind of fell in my lap. So I was able to do ESPN, for 3 or 4 years and then jump into this podcast space, which was fairly new. If you think about it, it's only been 5 years, but if you run 5 years ago, there were maybe 1 or 2 sports podcasts out there. Jalen and Jacoby, some people call that a pod, even though it was on linear TV. And then D Miles and Quentin Richardson were right before us, maybe 4 or 6 months before us. So we kind of came in and kind of set a whole new precedent, a new wave, and not knowing it at the time, but kind of grandfathered all these other people to be like, hey, I want to do that too. And now this type of conversation runs media. I remember when I was doing my podcast on All the Smoke and I'd be on ESPN, like they're using clips from my show to lead stories. You know what I mean? So it's just like these kind of sit back, authentic conversations are dope, especially, from someone like yourself that had so much success, but can also give us the intricacies of a team that you played, the teams you played on and who you coach. And I just think as a fan, which I am now, I want to hear from you. Like I think Stephen A. Smith is great and Skip Bayless and all these guys that have, made a life in the sports media, but they don't know what it's like to have to knock that free throw down or a crazy locker room or coach cussing you out or somebody getting traded or teammates fighting. Like they don't know what none of that shit is really like. So I say all that to say, man, it's been amazing. It's been a learning experience. I was someone, B, who not only, came and created the concept, but I wanted to learn the business of it because it very quickly I learned, I'm like, yo, we really have something here. And I have to learn this shit. I can't depend on anyone else to kind of tell me, hey, this is how it's going to go or this is what we're going to get. So I rep myself and learned the space and negotiated our first deal with so after our first deal, I fired the guy that negotiated the deal because this motherfucker gave all our IP to Showtime. So after we done our first year, so we won Sports Podcast of the Year our very first season, and we made $30,000, and we had to chase that 30 down. So the next year they came back to us like, hey, we had just won maybe 2 or 3 awards, but Sports Podcast of the Year was one of them. And they came back with a kind of a disrespectful offer. And I'm just like, with all due respect, like, I think we're worth more. And they're just like, oh, this is the market. You guys are new here. We're at Showtime and we don't really know what the bar should be. I'm like, why don't you guys set the bar instead of trying to bullshit with us? So they were kind of bullshitting with us. So that's when I went out and started talking to the iHearts and talking to the Apples and Amazons and Spotify's and all these different companies just to kind of because it was a new space. But I was hoping someone would really just take a chance on us and figure it out. And, I found a great situation with iHeart and I went back to Showtime. It's like, listen, like, I really like this iHeart deal. What's up? Because they're offering a lot more money than you guys are. So I was able to negotiate, Showtime to bring the money up to what iHeart does, but still keep iHeart. So we got paid for our audio from iHeart and then our digital from Showtime and YouTube. So we were probably the first podcast. I don't know if anyone else has that story because, again, we were probably the third podcast in the space, but we were the first one to ever get paid for double for just doing the same job.
Wow. What I knew from the jump, because we did the jump together on a few occasions, right? When I was working for ESPN as well.
Yep.
And I knew from just being on set with Matt and listening to him, talk to players or ask questions, I was like, this brother's going to be in the media. He's going to do some good things in the media. But I didn't see... because again, like you said, we didn't know about the space for podcasts. So when I first saw all the smoke with you and Steven, I was like, this shit's tight. I said, this shit's tight.
Yeah.
Plus they were smoking on the set. And, they were
that
smoking their
was
stuff and having a good time.
Like now we look at it like it's nothing because it's legal in the league. But in your era and I don't know. Actually, I don't know about your. I know for sure my era you couldn't smoke, and we had 4 random drug tests, and if you get popped, you get popped. So to think that 2 former NBA players are now having a show where you're smoking weed but still having great conversation. Like I kind of think we changed the game with that as well.
You did. And just so you know, it wasn't legal.
Okay. I wasn't
sure. Not legal when I smoked.
I know there's a lot of shit
when I played, it was not legal.
But to be able to grow that from a show into a whole company, I think is what I'm proudest of. Obviously we still trying to put our best foot forward with the show, but we've launched, show boxing. with Andre Ward and Roy Jones. So we have a whole boxing category now, and we're behind the scenes producing stuff for some of these big promoters. Did a deal with Netflix for the Paul Tyson fight. We stepped over into the NFL space with Deshaun Jackson and Shady McCoy. Shout out to Deshaun for his new job. He's a head coach now. And then the boxing, and then we're gonna kick off MMA this year in 25, and then hopefully golf as well. So we've been able to go vertical in a handful of different spaces, and then also start creating documentaries and shows and that kind of thing. So, to think that, 5 years ago, it was just an idea where me and Jack were at my house in the Bay smoking weed. Let's do something together.
That's when the great ideas happen,
man.
Right?
And then,
you got a book?
Yeah, we got a coffee table book. Shout out to Simon & Schuster, the first pod with the coffee table book. So we've been able to do some really cool things. But I think what I take the most pride in just inspiring everyone else to. Yeah. Because the media landscape is so, when you played for sure, and then kind of when towards the tail end of my career, social media came out, but what the media used to say about you was the gospel, whether it was right, wrong, or in between. Right, and we didn't have, unless you were someone that got the microphones put in your face every night, you just had to live with the bullshit they would talk about you. So I think that we've kind of been able to empower people to be able to kind of, okay, well, this is what they're saying, but this is what really happens.
The truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think
really
a lot of people want to hear that
absolutely,
too.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't know this about you, but you coach as well.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
You coach your boys who are teenagers.
Yeah.
And when the high school basketball season is not in, you coach an AAU team.
I coach one of your players too.
You coach one of my players as well.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy coaching?
Love it. It's my fix now. I've been removed. This June will be 8 years since I retired, which is crazy. It's gone by so fast, but that's kind of my fix. I still lift weights and box to kind of get the competitive out of me, but just being able to prepare and teach these kids. And as I said earlier, I just feel like the reason why the European kids are coming over and setting up their flag in the NBA and making it a home is because they know how to play basketball, not just with the ball. They know how to play off the ball, and they're very skilled. They're fundamentally sound. So, that's what I take the most pride in. We've been lucky. I started coaching my kids at 8. They just turned 16 now, and we've had since they've been 9. I still probably coach 5 of those kids. You know what I mean? We won the national championship as 8th graders. Came in 4th place in the country this past summer at Peach Jam. But just the ability to teach these kids and be a father figure, a mentor, and really teach. I started teaching these guys NBA concepts in 4th grade of, screen and roll, pop, roll, flares, backdoor cuts, that 45 cut. I teach, we have a few plays here and there we run, but I want to teach them to be able to think the game. And I got that from Phil. When Phil Jackson puts someone on the court, he trusts you. Yeah. He's going to let you play through some shit because he trusts you and he wants you to kind of see it and figure it out. So I'm doing that on a lower level, obviously controlled, but I want my kids to think the game, not just play the game. And I really think that's what I pride myself on, is just really being able to teach this game at a high level and having kids buy in that want to learn. Yeah.
Question about your coaching. Mm-hmm. Do you have any interest in taking it to a different level? When I say different level, I'm talking about the collegiate or the professional level.
I actually got offered some opportunities right when I retired, and I passed because the reason why I retired was because I wasn't getting a chance to see my kids. But B, better than anybody, it never turns off as a coach when you get to the college level or the NBA level. It's year round. And, I got 7 fucking kids. You know what I mean? So I got a 4-month-old and all the way to twin 16-year-olds, man. So my greatest joy these days is just being dad. I think I could, but I just don't think I have the time to commit to what that would take, because, when I'm in something, I'm all in. And I just feel like on the NBA level particularly, there's just never a downtime. Players, we get to turn it off sometimes. Yeah. And kick back and chill. But as coaches, you're always trying to get better, always trying to find new players, always trying to get your players better. I just don't really have the time.
Yeah, there's no switch, because you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about ball. And I used to do that all the time. And most of the time when I would wake up, I couldn't go back to sleep. So I learned that I would wake up and just get up. I always had a pen and pad by my bed. Oh, okay. And I would start jotting down shit that I was already just dreaming of and thinking of. Yeah. Just so I can go back to sleep.
But that can take you down a tunnel of 2 or 3 hours. Next thing you know, the sun is up. Yeah. Because I do it on my phone sometimes. My girl wake up who you texting? I'm like, nah, babe, I just can't. I'm writing shit down. Writing shit down.
And as you know, Coach would call, he called me at 5 a.m, Coach, what we doing today in practice? I said, Coach, don't call me at 5 a.m. God damn, I said, don't call me until after 6.
He used to only sleep 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, and that's what I asked him. After the second call, I said, Kobe, do you sleep? He said, no, not really.
I don't really sleep.
To talk about Kobe again, we know the type of love and respect you had for Kobe. Give us one of your favorite Kobe stories.
I don't know if it's individual stories. I mean, I've seen him, the way he would try to push buttons with Powell. Like sometimes I'd have to intervene. Like, come on, Kobe, you can't talk to Powell. Powell's just the nicest fucking guy in the world. Like we're all talking shit. Powell's reading a book. Like, Kobe, stop fucking with Powell, man. So that,
he was trying to bring out the best in everybody.
Yeah, he always tried to bring out the best.
Yeah.
Always tried to, like, and that was just his way. And Powell responded to it. I wouldn't even say like individual story. I would just say that the way we connected after, you know, the world thought we hated each other and didn't know each other with the ball fake, and then we became teammates, and then we really became brothers because we were both going through a lot of shit off the court at the time. But I think us transitioning from players to dads more, and the way he used to come to my kids' game, like everything is out in Orange County, and that's where he was living at the time. So he started coaching G, and Gigi was 2 years older than the twins. So there'd be times, because we're 8 and 9 years old, that we had the early games, 8 o'clock in the morning. So we would talk before, because girls and boys played the same place. Time the twins play. Man, 8 o'clock. All right, bet. 8 o'clock. Kobe is there watching fucking 8-year-olds play basketball. 8-year-old. This is not like high school. This is 8-year-olds, you know. And the one thing too early on, I would say, is right when we came to the team, the twins were 3 or 4. And from that day until the day he died, the twins got the last pair of shoes from Kobe a week before he passed. Every single time he dropped a shoe, he sent it to the twins. And then once they started playing, he would send it to their whole team. So I just think the way he loved my sons, and you know, it was like, I have a video somewhere where I surprised them for their 10th birthday and took them to Orange County, but they had no idea what was going on, and to work out with Kobe. And when they got in there, they just, and when I tell you, he busted their motherfucking asses in that work. He went so, and I loved it
until they got on that court.
I loved it, and made one of the twins cry. But I love, because it's just like he's gonna teach you how to think and play the right way. So I think that was a long-winded way of saying just the way he loved my sons and the father he was probably my favorite part about him.
You know, the thing that I loved about him so much is that a lot of people didn't get a chance to see that part of him.
The other side, you got a chance to see the mom.
We did, but a lot of people didn't get the chance to see the father.
Yep.
You know, the brother,
the businessman, the shit talker in the locker room.
They only got a chance to see him on that basketball court, but they never got a chance to see what type of person. Kobe did a lot of shit behind the scenes that people don't even. Like, he would just go to random schools. And just to say hello to kids. Pay for people's dinners.
If you're in town in Orange County and someone hears about, someone's telling me a story, I forgot it. Kobe paid for dinners and paid for people's Starbucks, and he wasn't even there. Like somehow, just he had his antennas out, but. Remember one thing we used to do too is in pregame, there was a show on, I think, Spike TV called 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yeah.
And we're both just kind of diabolical people. So we would sit in the training room and that was our pregame show. We would both get treatment and watch 1,000 Ways to Die and just laugh like, this is fucking crazy, right? And it just, our minds were so weird, but there was a lot of times we got to share. But B, that's one thing I feel so lucky that I got a chance to see the other side, because he didn't, even if you're a teammate, sometimes he wouldn't let everybody in.
He didn't reveal it to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you're definitely blessed.
Yeah.
Definitely blessed.
We'll get you out of here on this, Matt. I mean, what's next for Matt? Matt Barnes. What is he doing next? What do you see your future?
Continuing to be the best dad possible. I think first and foremost, continue to inspire my kids, the kids I coach, and then business-wise, just continue to find a way to tell authentic stories in this space. I lucked up in this space and found something in my second act that I'm good at. I feel like I've been so lucky to play 15 years. Even though I bounce around, I played 15 years. I got paid millions of dollars if I can put a ball in the hoop. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I'm able to transition into media, and I work for the biggest machine ever with ESPN, and now I have my own company now. And, I was super proud. We had our team meeting the other day, and we have 20 employees now. You know what I mean? So we're growing and we're building something special. But we're also inspiring a lot of athletes and former athletes to take this jump into this media space. So where I want to go, I just want to continue to, be a good person, good father, good partner, and an inspiration to everyone who sees what I'm doing.
I want to say this to all the young players that are in the NBA right now. If you're inspired to get into the media field, give that brother a call.
Oh yeah, come on,
you know what I'm saying? Because he's always been old school, where he's gonna get back, and he's, he ain't like a lot of these brothers that doesn't want to pass it down. You know what I'm saying? So
I think it's important we got to pour B because this space wasn't meant for us, and I think that now we have our foot in this space. We got the door cracked. We got to kick it open because we've always been the topic of conversation, but now we are the conversators as well, which is important too. So we're able to tell our own stories and dispel narratives that aren't true, and really be able to tell our own stories and give our brothers and sisters a chance to do the same.
Ain't it cool though when you go places and they just, Matt Mills. Love all that smoke. Love all the smoke. I mean, isn't that cool?
It's which is dope. Again, I'm 8 years out the league now. It's like some people don't know me as a basketball player.
Right.
My kids don't know me as a basketball player. You know what I mean? Like I have a 6-year-old and a 4-month-old. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like to see the love that we get and the respect. And I don't know if I didn't tell you, it was another show we did the day we did your show. There was a lady, a old white lady in the grocery store, and I'm at the dry cleaner, I'm at the grocery store, I do my own shit.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and said, "Mr. Barnes, I love all the smoke." And I thought she just said, I'm like, "Oh, really? Well, what was your favorite episode?" She's like, "Jim Gray." I was like, "Oh shit, she really watches this." I was like, I was like, "Ma'am, do you mind if I ask how old you were?" She's like, "I'm 74 years old."
Wow.
I'm just like, damn, that's crazy.
So the audience you know what I mean?
You just never know. You never know who's watching. And that's one thing I learned from going to UCLA and playing for the Lakers and Clippers. I mean, you never know who you're going to meet. Mm-hmm. And, I had such a reputation, which I earned as just a bad boy or ready for some shit or an asshole or a thug or whatever people may call me. But off the court, I smoke so much. I'm just cool as a fan. You know what I mean? So people are always just like, "Oh, damn, he's cool." Like I didn't know because, I was trying to be an animal out there. That's what I had to do to survive. Just you never know who is who, and always being polite and being cool to people, I think just takes you such a long way, especially because of me, because I think a lot of people were scared of me when I first got out of the NBA. He's crazy. But nah, like
then when they get a chance to meet you, they're like,
damn, he's cool as hell.
Yeah,
he's cool. So
my mother used to always say, it doesn't hurt you to be nice.
No, I think it's harder to carry burdens and grudges and be an asshole. Like I have teammates that I love to death, but like they're assholes. I'm like, damn, bro, you don't have to be an asshole. Yeah, you don't have to be an asshole, bro.
Yeah, but that's your job in the NBA.
Yeah,
though,
but in the
that's
NBA,
all people see.
Not when you're done with the NBA.
Yeah.
And I was in Vegas, which brought me to that point. It's the reason I brought it up, because I was in Vegas. And we've been doing, Byron Scott's Fast Break for about 4 months now. My boy B got this hooked up with Kid J, and we've been doing it for 4 months. And it's starting to get gain some traction. And I'm at a restaurant, me and my wife, and we're walking out, and I saw this tall brother. And then when I got close to him, it was Grant Hill. And I said, "Grant, what's up, dog?" Hey, "Oh, what's up, coach? How you doing?" Gave me a big up. "Man, love your podcast." I was like, "Word?" He was like, "Yeah, love your podcast."
That's dope.
So that, told me, man, we doing the right thing. We're going in the right direction. Definitely. But to hear it from another fellow, NBA player, retired player, legend in Grant Hill.
Yeah, and as players, all we ever wanted, I mean, you could say what you want. We didn't get paid or whatever. Like, you want the respect of your peers.
That's all. Yeah.
Whether you're playing or when you're done.
That's the bottom line.
And to have it is important.
I got a feeling Scottie Pippen ain't going to be on our show.
No, we didn't talk bad about him.
I love Scottie.
Yeah, me too.
I love Scottie. I'm a big Scottie Pippen fan. Like I said, nothing but mad respect. We love to have Scottie on the show.
Yeah.
I see him every now and then at Calabasas Country Club, chipping and everything. So next time I do see you, Scottie, I'm going to ask you to come on the show, bro. Just tell me.
I asked, my twins played against him last year at Sierra Canyon. We sat right next to each other, and I asked him, like, "Do you talk?" He's like, "No, MB, I don't really do too much talking." And now I'm seeing all this talking, so I would love to sit down with bro too. We can
got some shit to get off his chest.
We can sit back and smoke one, and let's talk, baby.
Sound like he got a lot to get off his chest.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Barnes.
Yes, sir.
Byron Scott's Fast Break. Thank you, bro.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you, bro.
No doubt.
Thank you for watching Byron Scott's Fast Break. If you like what you saw, here's some more videos. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.